Can you make a full-time wage just with digital products? That's the question. Well, I'm here to tell you guys that you absolutely can, and it's actually easier than you think. So today's video is about my story of how I got started and exactly when I knew that you could go full-time making digital products. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Jessa. I teach all things digital products, passive income, automation, and online marketing. So if you are interested in learning from me, definitely subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos every single week. Now let's get started. So what was my first store on Etsy? It was actually done on a whim. We were sort of making, we were designing websites and logos and brochures, annual reports. And what we were doing is we were trading our time. So we'd sort of spend all this time and make something for a client, a one-off thing, and then we get paid. And then we'd have to go find another client and do the work and get paid. So we were trading our time for money. And it was sort of like in a cycle where you were always sort of having to hustle. Being self-employed, if you took any time off, you were obviously sacrificing income, because if you weren't working, you weren't making money. So if you were going to go on a holiday or if you got sick, you had to actually sort of think, am I going to be able to take this time off? Can we afford it? What circumstance am I in? So it wasn't the perfect setup. Now, we were in sort of I always say in business, it's like a famine or a feast. It's either one way or the other way. We were in sort of one of those famine periods where we were actually struggling to pay our bills because we hadn't been paid by a number of clients. We're like, what are we going to do? And on the side, I decided to start an Etsy store. So I started my very first Etsy store. And I started making Etsy banners. So obviously Etsy, it's a platform, it's a traffic driving place where you can sort of sell goods and services and vintage and handmade stuff. I was selling Etsy banners on there, and I thought it was a good idea because obviously the platform is full of Etsy sellers who need banners. So I jumped in, I made my store, filled it with Etsy banners, and it went way better than I expected. So over the course of a month, it grew from zero income to $70 a week. And at this point in time, we were charging $500 for a website, and we would work for weeks on that. So to make $70 from something that I'd already made, and it was just sort of making this reoccurring income, I didn't have to action anything. It was mind blowing. So for me, that was the real trigger that sort of threw me into the world of digital products. I'm like, we have to do this because I love being creative. I love making designs that that I enjoy making. I love having that sort of creative freedom, and it was absolutely perfect for me to be able to sort of make what I wanted, put it up, and anyone who wanted to buy it could actually buy it, and multiple people could buy it. So I could have 100 sales from the one thing that I've made, got to make what I want, got to make income from it, and it was very, very hands-off once set up. So I think it took around a year for us to fully transition from that initial store where we were just wow, mind blown that we can make $70 a week from selling Etsy banners. From there, we branched out to an invitation store and then another invitation store, and we were sort of selling graphic design. We were sort of in a phase where we're making lots of different products, and we're sort of seeing what sold the most, and whatever sold the most, that is the direction that we would follow. So for example, when the Etsy banners did really well, we made twice the amount of Etsy banners. When the invitations did really well, we made twice the number of invitations. So we were really listening to what our customers wanted, what was trending on Etsy, and just sort of following that path. And that made it snowball quite quickly. It meant that myself and my husband Glenn, we were able to sort of drop back and eventually close our agency and fully focus on our digital products, which we to this day love creating. So if this is you and you're sort of in that early stage where you might not have opened your store yet, or you might have just opened it, you're not getting many sales, and you're is this even possible? Can I make an income from this? The answer is yes, and lots of people are doing it. So my 3 tips for if you are sort of in that phase where you haven't gone full-time on your store yet, my 3 tips are this. So tip number 1 is to research what is actually selling. So when I'm saying research, I mean look on Pinterest, look on Etsy, look on everywhere that you can find, put your head to the ground and really listen for what customers are loving at the moment and really looking for. And obviously when you find a trend, I want you to actually research how many people are in that niche competing already, because we want to find those niches which aren't sort of oversaturated so you can get a foothold in that market as quickly as possible. So number 2 is think about what are the products in your store you're going to have if your customer comes back for more. Because if they come and they've bought your wonderful product and they're blown away by this thing that you've made and it's saved them time or saved them money or it's brought them joy, how else can you serve them? What else can you sell them? What is going to connect to that product? You need to think of the products in your store as kind of like a web of products. So it's not just the one, they connect to each other and they sort of sell naturally to each other. So if that customer really loved what like you sold them, they can come back to your store and they can buy multiple things from you, because they will. They absolutely will. If you create good products, they definitely will come back for more. Now, my third and final tip is, if you are starting out and you're waiting to sort of like hit that mark where you've scaled to a full-time income, I just want to let you know, don't give up. Like, just hit it hard. It is a slow game where bit by bit, you gain ground and you don't lose ground. So everything that you do is a step in the right direction. It's always going to bring you a little bit more experience, a little bit more income. It's going to bring you insight. All of those things, they build and they make it a business. So like, if you're just starting out and you're not having the results that you want, try something new, research more, look at trends, look at what else is selling. Just go out there, give it your best, and do not give up. I want to tell you a little bit of a story just before I finish up. Now, the very first message that I got on Etsy, I'm a new seller, I'm really excited, I'm just like, yeah, this is gonna be amazing. My very first message I got from someone was, they were like, oh, I love your product, it's amazing. I want to buy it definitely, and they sent me a link to it, and the link was not even my product. Like, no joke, they linked me to someone else's product. They thought I was a different store. So that was a bit like, I was gutted when that happened, but I kept on, and like 7 years later, I'm so happy that I did. I'm so happy that I kept just kind of taking those tiny steps, one step in front of the other, and it all, I promise you, it all amounts to something. So guys, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope that you are on your way to scaling to a full-time income selling digital products. My name is Jessa Bellman. If you like what you saw, you can absolutely join my digital product mastermind. I've got a link down below. It is free to sort of like join the mastermind. You can come in, and then there's optional sort of paid training. Like, there's lots going on in there. Great group of people, so you can definitely do that. And you can also subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos every single week. Thank you guys, and goodbye. I will see you next Wednesday. Bye.